you want a piece of in the play-in game? Because you're not going to make it to the 6th seed, and you're going to be in the play-in. Do you want a piece of New Orleans? Do you want a New Orleans rematch? You want Phoenix if they make it there? Sacramento or the Lakers?
Come on, you want Sacramento. You definitely want Sacramento.
Because they're wounded?
Well, I mean, Herter's done for the year. Malik Monk done for the year. They're just kind of reeling. You definitely want Sacramento. Sacramento has no confidence against Golden State. They lost the decisive game last year on their home floor.
Yeah.
Sacramento is, without Malik Monk, DOA. They're cooked.
They sure looked like they were struggling last night a little bit. New Orleans came in and put a $135 on them. Harrison Barnes, former Dub with 22 in the loss. De'Aaron Fox continues to show that he's one of the 15, 12 best players in the association, but they just don't have enough outside shooting without Monk and Herter, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Monk was the guy that I always feared when the Warriors played them, just because he can get hot in an instant and carry a team for a quarter and a half. Without him and no Herter, their firepower is not great. And, Barnes has been disappointing all year. I just feel like Sacramento's limping towards the finish line.
No doubt, and they're in danger of falling out of the 8th seed. Right now they're in a 3-way tie with the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. If the Kings can win out, and Warriors, Lakers, and Kings each have 2 games left to go, Sacramento's got Phoenix tonight at home, and then Portland, which I guess we can't look past Portland anymore after the scare they gave the Warriors last night. But I think tonight's the night, Larry. You've got Kings and Suns at 7:30, Warriors and Pelicans at 7 o'clock. So you'll have an idea by about 10 o'clock tonight whether or not the 8 seed is still viable. If the Warriors lose to New Orleans and Sacramento wins, well, then you're officially eliminated from the 8 seed.
Well, and Portland's been circling the drain, but one thing you got to remember about last night: no Jeremy Grant, no Anthony Simons, no Matisse Thybulle. They were shorthanded too last night.
Yeah, they were, and yet they gave the Warriors a real scare, and it's in part because no Clay and no Draymond, but also the Warriors, I thought, kind of went into that in second gear, and we were talking about the human nature aspect of that. It's hard to really get up for Portland in that spot. Now, Sacramento, if they win tonight over Phoenix, they're going to go into that game knowing that it's a win and in for the 8 seed situation. So maybe the motivation's a little bit easier for Sacramento tomorrow than it was for the Dubs last night.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just think, give me Sacramento. Of the choices that you presented, give me Sacramento for sure. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And who would be the second team you'd want to play if it wasn't Sacramento?
Well, I think the Lakers would be the emotional pick just because that would be such a fun game to watch. And, matchup-wise, though, the Lakers do pose a problem for Golden State. And
there will be Anthony Davis this time.
Yes, and LeBron. You would imagine they both would be up and ready to go. For me, it would probably be, if it's not Sacramento, it would be Phoenix if they found a way to fall down. And I don't know if they can fall down to the 9. They can't. So if you get up to the 8, then you'd be hoping that you get a chance to take on Phoenix. Maybe New Orleans rises to the 6, and you get a chance to take on the Suns. I don't think there is a good answer on the second team you'd want to face.
Yeah. Phoenix is a weird team because they do have enormous talent. They have high-end talent. At times when you watch them, they play with swagger, and they've had some of the worst losses in the last month. So it's hard to kind of gauge what Phoenix team you'd really be getting.
Yeah, and they've had bad losses throughout the course of the year, really, and that's been the thing about Phoenix. And I looked yesterday at their preseason over-under, and it was at 50.5.
Right.
So they've been woefully disappointing. The Warriors, for their part, their over-under was 48, so they're going to fall short of that mark, but they've at least shown signs of life over the second half, and certainly since Draymond got back from his suspension. But you mentioned Sacramento being the team you'd want to play. They've lost 4 of 5, and they've lost 6 of 9. So a lot of those games have come since they lost Malik and Herter, but it's been a team that is absolutely on the ropes.
Yeah, they feel like they're just hanging by a thread. Like the Warriors have so much more momentum going right now than Sacramento does. I would welcome that series. Absolutely welcome. And I actually loved it when the Warriors played Sacramento last year. I thought it energized NorCal. I think it's great to see these teams that are within, 100 miles of each other, locking horns. And it's funny because, doing the YouTube show, I've got Giants fans, Niners fans, and then I'm a Warrior fan. But there's a lot of Giants, Niners, Kings fans.
Right.
Because it's kind of the Bay Area adjunct market, so it creates a little extra juice.
Right, because if you're in Sacramento and you don't have a football team and
the Niners, yeah. You're
right.
a Niner fan, you're a Giant fan, but basketball time,
Oh, you're a Kings fan. And I wonder how much of that goes back. I guess older fans, like fans our age, would be Niner fans by default because of the old Rockland days. When the Niners would decamp in Rockland,
yeah,
right?
But they're all Niner fans, even to this minute. But what really is interesting is the basketball fan in Sacramento that's predated the Kings. So you know what? I'm a big Warrior fan, even though I live in whatever. I live in El Dorado Hills. There's a lot of that because obviously the Kings didn't get to Sacramento until like '88.
Right.
So, if you were an NBA fan before 1988, and that's, there's an awful lot of good basketball in there in the 70s. Warriors won a title with Rick Barry and this and that. Even if you're in that next generation with Run TMC, you're a Warrior fan. Now, some of them jumped, I'm sure, to Kings fans, but a lot of them, and then now you can get the NBA package. It's like you can be anywhere and watch any team and that kind of thing. So, they made it hard for a while, though. They've kind of force-fed Kings basketball to you for a while up there.
Well, they were dreadful for so long, and then they had a great run with, Peja and Vlade and the boys. And,
Weber.
And since then, they've kind of recessed back, but a nice renaissance for Sacramento. And, you hate to see any team suffer that kind of an injury down the stretch, but then if you're a Warrior fan, you do have to lick your chops a little bit at the prospect of maybe facing Sacramento in the play-in. Sacramento with Phoenix tonight at home, 7:30 as mentioned. That's on NBA TV if you're looking to toggle between ball games.
What's the spread in that thing? What would you say? You think Phoenix is favored?
By 4.5. Yeah, I just looked.
Oh, 4.5. Okay.
Yeah, at Sacramento. So Kings playing second game in a row at home, and Phoenix playing to try to stay out of the play-in themselves. So definitely motivation on both sides. Phoenix needs a win. They need a couple of wins and a couple of New Orleans losses in order to get themselves out of the play-in and up to the 6th seed.
I don't think it's going to happen. But hopefully one of those New Orleans losses is tonight. That's what we're hoping for. And I think tonight's going to be interesting from the standpoint of how does Golden State start? How do they start? And the one thing that Kerr, mentioned is that they played Steph a few extra minutes.
36.
How much juice does Steph have on the 17th back-to-back on a grueling season in a game that I'm sure Golden State would much rather have been able to be in a rest mode. Instead, they're trying to get their guy to play probably big minutes tonight. So, it's going to be, that to me is going to be really interesting. How bouncy is Steph tonight?
Yeah, he sat out against Utah, which was 5 days ago, and then he played 32 minutes against the Lakers, and he turned around last night 36 minutes and 22 seconds, and he had to dig deep in that fourth quarter to help carry the Warriors